to Cockatude, Cockatoos with Attitude. Episode 101. Not training your parrot? Think again. One of the things that I guess I kind of knew it down in here, but I didn't know it up here, was that anytime you're around a bird, you're training, because they're watching all the stimulus, all the things you do, and they are reacting one way or another. Even if they're just sitting there and looking at you or turning their head from you, it's still a reaction to the stimulus that's going on. So learning is always going on. We tend to think that training only happens when you put them on the perch and you go through the training routine, or if you're working with them in a cage to get to step up on your hand or something like that, that's when the training is going on. But it's going on when you're walking by their cage. You're just walking by and walking by. That's what happened to Bob. When he was at the animal hospital, they would walk by his cage to go get a dog, and then walk the dog, and then they'd walk by with the dog again, and they'd walk by a third time and not even say anything to him. So that's where his little attitude with new people came out. He expects you to ignore him. That expectation is based on that repeated stimulus of watching somebody walk by, and then walk by again, and then walk by again and again, and not even talk to you, okay? So he has a little bit of a problem with that, don't you, Bob? Don't you, Bob? Yeah. Okay, introductions. Babaloo. Babaloo. And of course, Pippa isn't in here because I'm not going to take a chance on any kind of a problem between these two on camera. When I'm looking at the camera and talking to you guys, I can't be paying 100% attention to the guys in the room. Otherwise, they can be in the same room because I can watch their signals and I'll know if there's a problem coming down. So, and over here we have Cosmo, hey Cos, and Peaches, hi Peaches. And we have a perch over there with nothing on it yet. And over here we have Cecil Bird. He's been pretty active, busy the last couple of weeks. Watch him just sit here with his face hanging out, right? Like you guys did last week, our last episode. There is Sugar Bird. Sugar, you want to give a bow? Flash a tail? Sugar. Nope, just gonna sit there, okay? And over here we have Coco the bird. Hey Coco. She's been pretty busy lately. We'll see what she does today. And we have Cecil. Very well done, Peaches. Got a second verse? Oh, that's a beautiful song from our little opera star. Oh, a third verse. Oh, wonderful, Peaches. Not many opera stars can sing at 125 decibels. Cecil's up there on the big perch, way up on top. He likes to sit up on top, don't you, big boy? And Jabba the Hutt, also known as Salamander. He likes to be called Yoda too, so I don't know. He's got a Star Wars thing going on, don't you, buddy boy? So that's our cast today, and I'm Don, of course. Right? So, what is behavior? Okay. Behavior is an animal, including us people. It's a response to stimuli, okay? So any living organism, it's their response to stimuli. And, I mean, stimuli can be very simple and very subtle, all right? It may be like the can of Rumford baking soda I put out. I just sat it on the counter and then Chloe wouldn't shut up. Or it could be me taking a cattle prod and sticking it in your hind end and going zzz. Okay, so there are lots of different kinds of stimulus. Stimulus can be positive. Hey, I got some chocolate for you, buddy. You want some? Or it can be negative. Hey, this really stinks. Smell it. Okay. So one example is when you open the door, okay, and your companion parrot sees you. You are a stimulus. The whole action of opening the door, you're walking in the room, all the facial expressions. You're going to sing again, Peach? That's a nice display, Peaches. That's a nice display, Peaches. Oh, Peaches. Beautiful display, Peach. You can go over here if you want. No? Okay. Yes. All right. Come on over, but you got to stay away from my little pad here. Okay, I'll set that on my lap so I can use it. Another example of a stimulus would be a microwave beeping. Hi, guys. Very good, Cock. Oh, don't do that. Hi, guys. Very good, Cock. Oh, don't do that. Come here. It's all right. Come on. Don't do that, Bob. Come here. It's all right. Get up over here. No. No. I said no. Bob, behave. Get over here. That's a good boy. Another stimulus would be when the microwave beeps and you run over to it. Most people hear that beep and they go right over to it. And they can't figure out why the African gray they have makes that beeping sound. Well, if the beeping sound attracts you to it, it seems to make sense to the African gray that if it makes the beeping sound, you'll come over. Now that isn't mimicry. They aren't just making a sound to repeat a sound. They're using it for a specific purpose. Now sometimes you'll see an African gray run through its entire repertoire of sounds, and kind of like we sing. It's kind of like that. But in general, they use them to give a response. Okay, there's something that they want. So you have to remember that everything that you do can and will be used against you in a court of parrot behavior. Behaviorists, like me, believe that behavior is shaped by our environment. That our actions are driven by our desires to gain rewards and avoid punishments. Now, just a note for our supporters, I'm going to give a whole bunch of examples of learning by accident. I'm going to give that in our supporter-only full version of this video cast. In this one, we're going to stick to just the basics, okay? So you can sign up and become a supporter by going to www.patreon.com/Chloe Sanctuary. So if the Parrot Police... Hey, Bob. You can get my lap if you want. I'll put that over here. So if the Parrot Police were to show up at your door and they were going to read you your rights, this is what they were going to say. And I'm reading this, of course. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can and will be used against you in the court of parrot behavior. Even your silence may be used against you. You have the right to learn how to train your parrot. If you cannot afford or choose not to learn behavior training, no one will be provided to protect you. You're on your own. Your parrot will be your judge and jury. So that's what the Parrot Police would say if they showed up at your front door. And I don't know what I would do without the training that I've taken. And actually, it saved me money, even though it's cost quite a bit to take these classes. It has saved me a lot of money and a lot of pain. I mean, Bob used to be a screamer. He would scream all the time. And I've learned how to fix that. He's not screaming in here. Coco used to scream in this room whenever the cameras were up. She's just sitting there hanging out. So, well worth learning these things. And I highly recommend the Animal Training 101 course. Hi, Peach. What you doing, Peaches? Oh, you're just all fired up today, aren't you? Oh, that's my little singer. That's my little singer. Hi, baby. What, you want to come up sit on my chest? You can. No? Half-hearted. You do that sometimes. She's got another one she does, which is great. I didn't teach it to her. She puts her foot out like she wants you to get a hold of her, and then when you do that, she takes her foot and goes like this over her head. Like the fawns. I love it when she does that. Somebody taught you that, didn't they? Now, when the Parrot Police show up, they're probably not going to tell you that quite often what you will do will turn out just fine. Even in my blind ignorance before I began learning to train, I often did things that established good behavior with these guys. Okay? As Forrest Gump said, As stupid is as stupid does. And believe me, I was right there with Forrest Gump. Everything that happened in my life just came and went. I didn't have anything to really do with it. I observed it, and I thought I knew what was going on, but I didn't. Even a stopped watch is right twice a day, unless it's digital. We humans think that somehow we're superior. We're better than other animals. A lot of us out there don't even think we're animals, but hey, we do everything they do. You know, we breathe, we excrete, on and on and on. We share a lot with bacteria. In fact, we actually have more bacteria, fungus, and yeast and that kind of thing on us than we have more of those cells than we have of our own. Not by much. I think it's like 5% more, but we often think that we can handle anything until some disaster comes our way. It gives us a totally new perspective. Like when the fire hit us and I got the birds all outside and they didn't get any smoke inhalation, okay? And then shortly after that, we ended up here. And like about a week after we got here, when there was an earthquake that shook the whole building for 2 minutes and just kept getting more and more and more, I thought, oh, hell, here we go. I was ready to run outside and turn off the propane. You break a propane line somewhere in the walls and you've got a problem in an earthquake. So there's always learning going on. Everything that you do is causing something to happen, okay? All right, well, if you want to come over, I got to move this. You can come over, of course. You can come over, of course. So everything you do is training. Now, sometimes it's you that's being trained, all right? And I'm going to go through examples of that, but just as a simple example, when Peaches will look a certain way and lift her foot, she trained me to put my hand up and pick her up by putting out her foot. She trained me to do that. Okay, she did the training. I was the student. She observed my behavior, knew I was looking at her, or she would make a sound to get my attention. All right. And then after she did that, it didn't take long before I was just reacting to it and doing what she wanted. So I'm the student or the trainer, and depending on what's going on at any given time. But there's always learning going on. She learned from that experience that by lifting up her foot, she could get me to react. Now, I have a few quotes from the movie Excalibur that really fit us in this situation, okay? These are all quotes from Merlin, one of my favorite little movies about the Mort d'Arthur, the death of King Arthur, by Mallory. So, Merlin said, "Remember, there's always something cleverer than yourself. And often they will outwit you, they'll outwit me. They are highly intelligent, much more intelligent than a dog or a cat or anything like that. So they're always thinking and they're highly observant." Right, Bob? Right, Bob? Right, Bob? Like right now, he's holding on to my arm. He wants to keep me here and make sure I'm not going anywhere. So, and that's partially because this little one flew over. See, I gave some attention to her and now he's getting up. It's all right. Bob, I'm not going to dump you for somebody else, you silly bird. Now, if you lie to yourself and believe as if things are always going to remain the same, and that you and your parrot's relationships never going to change, Merlin said, when a man lies, he murders some part of the world. Because everything changes. And if you want those changes to be positive, then you need to take an active role. Okay? Right, Peaches? Take an active role. Oh, you're so pretty, Peaches. Oh, you're such a pretty peach. Are you going to get up? No. See, she's playing that game on me. She's not going across her head, but she's playing that game. Puts her foot out, pick me up just to see if I'll do it. I do it, and then she puts her foot back down. Don't you, baby? Knowing how to train, not just how to train, but to observe the fact that what you're doing right now is training something. I'm training these birds right now, and they're training me. Some of them are just sitting observing me, and they're not doing it. You're not doing anything up there, Seesaw. You were doing something, and then you got a little bit of a reaction from Bob. See, I'm getting a reaction from Bob by just talking to cause. Are you going to flash that tail? Sugar, you going to flash your tail? Sugar, you going to flash your tail? Shug, shug. Shug, shug, bird. Sugar. Sugar, bird. Nope, nothing from you, okay. Coco, nothing? Coco, you want to come over here? Come on, Coco. Come see me. Come on, Coco. Come on, baby. Come on. She's one that doesn't like to get off perches. You want to sit up here? Sit right there. There's a good girl. You be nice now. Everybody be nice. There's my Coco the bird. Bob, leave her alone right now. You sit and play in your area for a minute, okay? So knowing that you are training at every moment. When you walk into the room, it felt like something was there, but not. When you walk into the room, and normally you go over and say hello. Let's say you got home from work and you're in a hurry and you got to go out again and you brush by your bird. That bird may be expecting you to actually stop and say hello like you usually do, okay? And you don't. So now all of a sudden you've broken a rule. And the bird is going to react to that. How it's going to react? Will it ignore it? Will it come up with a behavior? Will it change its behavior because of what you did? There's a question. This is something you have to keep in mind. As Merlin said in Excalibur, you will be the land, and the land will be you. If you fail, the land will perish. As you thrive, the land will blossom. So think of your world as your land, and if you thrive in it, if you're paying attention and you're observing your behavior with them and their behavior with you, then the land can blossom. Now, I talk about training a lot and why you should learn reward training, applied behavior analysis, and I know a lot of people are like, I don't have time for this or whatever, but perhaps I can poke you or challenge you to get started, to start learning, okay? And one of the things I learned from Jennifer Zelig's Animal Training 101 course was to come bearing gifts. Now, I kind of did this by natural, kind of like Forrest Gump, okay? I just kind of did it naturally. I always, when I'd see one of these guys, I would say hello. I think Bob helped me with that a lot because they ignored him so much. I learned to always pay attention when I come back. I don't just walk into the room and walk through and ignore them. If I have to carry in groceries or something like that, I come in and say hello to everybody first, and then I do it. When I leave, I say goodbye to everybody. They kind of get used to the idea that I'm going to do this, okay? So I'm paying attention to them. But if I come over to Coco, she likes to be petted, I'll give her attention. That's a kind of, come bearing gifts. I'm bearing gifts for her. In this case, that's the petting, all right? So always approach any animal that you want to pay attention to you, that you actually want to listen to you and work with you. If you come bearing gifts, they're going to do that, okay? Now you can try this out for yourself. You can find out what your parrot loves the most. We've talked about this before, and take that one thing out of its diet, okay? Take it out of its feeding bowl. It doesn't get it at any other time, except when you're training or when you are coming to bear gifts, all right? This is called non-contingent reinforcement. Just means that they don't have to do anything to get that reinforcer. What you're doing is making yourself more positive to them, okay? So when they see you, they're going to be happy to see you. So every time you come up to Polly or talk and interact, did I call you Polly? Coco. Offer a tiny bit of this treat. So don't give them, if they like almonds, don't give them a whole almond. Give them just a little piece of almond, okay? Some birds, like Roman, if you come up to him in the evening and he says, I love you, and you offer him peanut butter, he is going to be upset with you. He wants to be petted. So he's not going to take a food treat at that time. There are certain times where he just wants to be petted, okay? And if you don't do that, he's going to be upset, all right? So if that's what they want, pet them on the head just a little bit. Don't get into where they're lifting their wings and everything. You don't want mate territoriality. So that's one kind of gift you can offer. It isn't always food. There's other things they want. They want to sit next to you while you're working on the computer, some of them. I wouldn't walk away. They might eat a keyboard. Bob will. He can do a keyboard. You can take all the keys off in less than a minute. He's amazing, aren't you? So if you do this, for example, when you come home every day, when you walk into the room every time for a while, do it for a month, okay? You're going to see a change. And if you don't see a change, then that means that your bird really needs a lot of help, okay? Because unless a bird is highly psychotic, it's going to react to that. Think of it like being at work, and every time your boss comes up and talks to you, he hands you a $5 bill. Are you going to be more likely to pay attention to your boss? Are you going to be less likely to say something negative about your boss? How are you going to feel about him? Even if your boss is kind of a pain in the rear, if every time you see him he hands you a $5 bill, you're probably not going to have a negative opinion of him. Okay, you're probably going to have more desire to do what he wants to do, be more willing than you would be if he wasn't doing that. So in most cases, you're going to see an improvement rather quickly in your relationship, unless there's your bird is severely neurotic or psychotic, and you may not know that. Okay, it's because they're a different species than us, and quite a bit different than us. They're so different. If you start studying their physiology and behavior in the wild, they don't share a lot with us in the way of behavior. They mate for life, and in this country, you're likely to get a situation where you can mate for 5 years without a divorce. Like 1 out of 2 divorce after the first 5 years. So once you see how this one basic technique can change your relationship, why don't you go ahead and learn how to train, okay? Don't take my word for it. Just try this one challenge, okay? And then think about all of your relationships. Then think about all of your relationships with your boss, your family, your kids, your friends. You can use these same training skills with them. Yeah, you can train them to be happier with you. We're all animals after all. I hope that you can see it in your heart to become a supporter today. Give us $1 an episode or more. We can certainly use more, but at least $1 an episode. We only do 2 a month, okay? That supporters will be giving donations for. So we only do 2 a month that we get donations for. So if you can't do that, you can give us a little help through PayPal. You can go out to our Mighty Cause page and donate there too. And as a last word, as Percival said in that same movie, Excalibur, he might have been talking about learning to train your parrot when he said that. Drink from the chalice and you will be reborn, and the land with you. And the chalice is learning how to train.
The Chloe Sanctuary hopes to give you insight into the health and happiness of your companion parrots. We hope to help you build happy homes using reliable and proven tools. The best homes are built on a rock-solid foundation. And the best foundation for a happy home is the bedrock of science. When we stand on the shoulders of giants, the scientists who have worked long and diligently to understand our companions, we can reach new heights of understanding. And understanding is the key to success.
I think treated, most of these birds have a good prognosis, and I would say
What does avian veterinary medicine have to tell us about our feathered friends? How can the tools of behavior shaping make our homes happier for us and our companions?
Shake.
How can we deal with biting, screaming, or other misbehavior? What is it like to live among parrots? Let them roam around about you and share a life with them. The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.
We welcome your feedback on our videos. We look forward to your insights, tips, questions, stories, and pictures. You can email us at cockatude@chloesanctuary.org, reach us on Twitter @Chloe Sanctuary, and join with us on our Facebook Chloe Sanctuary page.
So science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.